Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gertis, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
All right, question for you guys, or question for anybody that's listening. How many ways do you make money in real estate? Or more importantly, how many ways does the average buyer or average seller, the average homeowner think that they make money in real estate? And we're going to get into the answer because I think one of the biggest challenges that buyers are having right now is getting caught up in interest rates or getting caught up in a recession. And if we have a recession, what happens if I buy my house today and it drops in value? And that'd be a great question for our listeners. How much do you think if we hit a recession? And a lot of people think that home values are going to go down or the market's going to drop. What percentage do you think that is? I'd be curious to know what our listeners, what our followers think. But Ryan, it comes down to we get caught up. Oh my gosh, if I buy a $450,000 house and it drops by 5%, even if it dropped by 10%, the world is over and I have lost everything. And I maintain your home never, ever has to go up in value in order for you to make money in real estate. But obviously, let's tackle the first one. The first way you're going to make money on a piece of real estate is you buy it for this price and you sell it one day at a different price, a higher price.
Appreciation.
And it's called appreciation. That's typically the first way that most people think that we make money in real estate.
Sure. So appreciation is just over a long enough timeline in real estate, we've learned that appreciation is just that you're going to make money in real estate if you own it long enough. So even back in 2004, 2005, when people were paying obscene amounts of money and we're sitting back thinking, well, we're never going to see a market like this again for the rest of our life. Fast forward to
2020.
15 years later, and we're seeing even bigger numbers, even bigger spikes in value or what people were paying, quote unquote, appreciation. So yeah, that's probably the simplest form for most people to think of it, because if you have zero aspirations in investing in real estate, you just simply want to be able to hopscotch from point A to point B in life because your first home is probably going to be more in an introductory level one. You might only be there 3 to 5 years. So you're going to see 3 to 5 years worth of appreciation. Door number 2 or door number 3, maybe you get married, kids, or maybe you retire, whatever that life change looks like. Those types of milestones happen further and further apart. So you end up seeing more appreciation between each and every single time that you move. So that's kind of like the easy one that most everyone pays attention to, and then they move that equity from one property over to the other, which is pretty much completely against what all of our teachings are, because right. I'd rather have multiple properties making appreciation.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Justin. I feel bad for him because he sits in the middle. So there is no camera angle on our podcast where he's not on camera. You've got to look like you're interested at all times. Because I know when Ryan talks, I can just yawn off and nobody's going to actually see that. So nothing from you. Okay, that's true. All right, that's profound. So for my purposes, as my example, let's just say home number 1 cost you $350,000. And let's just say you hang on to it and you listen to Reconomics and you follow what we preach, and you're going to hang on to this for the life of the loan. You buy home number 1, you're going to own it for 30 years. And let's just say, because they're predicting that home price is going to go up 24% over the next 5 years. Let's say in the next 30 years, this home only goes up 5%, which is ludicrous, there's just no way. But at that point, that home right there has made you $87,500. Justin, if you get if you get an FHA loan, 3.5%, $350,000. That's I work it out here. That's $12,250. And now you got a $350,000 asset that's making money in one way of real estate. The second one, and you being on the lending side, you totally understand this, is, and this is why I say a home never has to go up in value. If I buy that $350,000 home, it doesn't go up in value, and I make every single one of those 360 mortgage payments. And typically, I'm going to have a renter in there after year two. So now I'm going to have a renter making those payments for me. And this is why we call it the Real Estate 401k show, because it's based on our Real Estate 401k program. Every time that mortgage payment is made, you're buying down the principal.
Every time. And as you continue to buy down the principal, and if you do, if you're making money on the property, if you do have renters in there and you're paying extra towards the principal, you're just paying down that principal faster, and you're paying less interest each month. So your reward will be higher at the end because you're paying less interest, so you have less fees.
Right, and you got somebody else making the payment for you,
Correct.
buying down the principal.
Right.
What do we say about stock, Ryan?
Well, it has to do with leverage. If I want $100,000 worth of stock, how much cash do I need to come up with?
Justin?
$100,000.
I'm going to go with $100,000 myself.
All right, and you'd be correct.
And this way, you're putting down $12,250.
Right, and
5 years to turn
and
it
so
into.
how in your scenario with the $350,000 home, what was the appreciation? The $87,000. What was that percentage?
That was 25% over 30 years.
25%. So, but the reality is you only put down $12,000, and then you made $87,000. By my calculation, that's a 400% increase.
Right.
Right. So that's where the laws of leveraging comes in to really benefit you. Now, you do have that monthly payment, right? And the reality is, going back to the appreciation level, everyone thinks that their homes appreciate. Your homes do not appreciate. Trust me, your home is not newer now than it was yesterday. It only maintains that if you are taking care of the property, you're remodeling it and
Sure.
you're keeping it up to date. But what's really appreciating is the land in which it sits on. That's the only thing that's appreciating, because everything else is a depreciating asset. So you have to understand. It's funny. I had a phone conversation with someone this morning, and this house is so distressed. They haven't touched it. I mean, they basically did what they had to do when they had to do it. So they got the roof replaced after they had multiple areas where just massive water damage had occurred, so on and so forth. But now all of a sudden, he's an expert in real estate.
He watches HGTV.
Right.
Huh?
and I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't be reactive. You have to be proactive to these things in order to really fully embrace what appreciation can do for you. And so that being said, when you do put that tenant in there that is paying down your principal, you're still responsible for making sure that you have a good tenant in there that's going to protect that appreciation.
Yeah, and here's the other thing is nobody, if I go out and buy the $350,000 worth of stock, I need $350,000 cash. Okay, the only way that I make, pretty much the only way I'm going to make money is if that stock goes up in value. Even if it goes up in value, if it doesn't go up in value, nobody's reimbursing me that initial $350,000 investment. That's the beautiful thing about a tenant and a renter buying down that principal. In essence, they're reimbursing your initial investment so that when the life of the loan comes to its conclusion, if the home doesn't go up in value, you have $350,000 almost liquid asset. Mm-hmm. It's powerful. Third way, and I don't want to get into the details of it because none of us are accountants, but you still have tax benefits. There's, especially when you have an investment property and you put it into an LLC, there's an incredible amount of write-offs. Even if you take a loss, in some cases, a loss benefits you. You see it all the time.
I see it all the time.
Well, going back to the fact that the only thing appreciating is the land in which a home sits on, you bet your ass I'm depreciating the heck out of everything and writing it off on taxes because my home is not getting any newer. And so in order to keep it new, I must remodel it. I got to make sure the new AC every 15 years or so, staying up on top of it. Those are all things that you can write off. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how.
How and who is helping you write those things off.
And so if you just think that you can just go throw that on to your returns and just start writing things off, you better make sure you know what you're doing. Now me, I don't. And I don't claim to. I don't live in a world where I just want to harness my strengths and work on my weaknesses. What I want to do is I want to take my strengths and put steroids on it. And then I want to delegate out my weaknesses to other people to where my weakness is their strength. And then they're putting steroids on those strengths so that we can just have one big powerhouse. So does it matter that I know everything about taxes? No. What does matter is that the people that are in my camp, in my sphere, do.
All right, the fourth way. So you're going to make money through appreciation. You're going to make money by the buy down of your principal. You're going to have financial advantages through taxes and hiring the right CPA or hiring the right accountant. The fourth way is if you follow Reconomics, you live in the house for 2 years, you go buy home number 2, you put a renter in there. Now, let's just say you actually put a renter in there at exactly at that 28-year mark. During the life of the loan, let's say your positive cash flow is $500. Mm-hmm. And let's say that the rent never goes up. It just stays $500 for the next 28 years. I did the math. I had to write it down. I tried taking off my shoes, but I don't have enough digits to do this type of math. Mm-hmm. But so $500 times 12 months times 28 years, that's $168,000 that you have generated in income. So you take all of those pieces together. And remember, initially we're focused on, what if my property goes down in value, drops 5%, or I'm paying a little bit higher of an interest rate than I really like. At the end of this, at the end of the life of the loan on property number 1, if you bought it for $350,000, 3.5% down, you will have made $605,000 just on that home using just $12,250. Imagine if you had 5 of those suckers.
And I think that another big asterisk there is understanding that if this only works if you're approaching it like a business.
Yeah.
I see
Absolutely.
so many people that want to babysit their rental properties, stop by once a week, go over there and make best friends with the tenants, and they think that what they're doing is creating better business when in fact they're totally mortgaging their time. Because if that $500 is great, if it's only taking me 45 minutes a month, right? Not many people out there are worth $1,000 an hour. I'm not worth $1,000 an hour. I wish, but
I'd like to think I am.
but when it comes to my passive income, I am, because I have plenty of properties that are doing that, making that passive income for me, and I have systems in place. I'm using home warranty companies. I'm using my trades. I'm using our attorneys. I'm using our CPAs that are managing it from a higher level. So all I have to do is when the dishwasher springs a leak, I'm making a phone call. I'm not physically or personally going out there trying to fix these things. I think that that's probably the biggest mistake that novice investors make.
Well,
go ahead, Justin.
I feel like when you're saying novice, but I feel like this is a perfect. I wish I would have known this when I was 20 years old. I feel like these are perfect scenarios. Owning a home for 2 years and then moving on to another home. These are perfect scenarios for people that are in their early 20s. You don't have a family. You're not looking for your dream home right now. It's a really good time to start doing this. And I think as when I was young, I was like, this wasn't for me. I'm not old enough to do this yet. I didn't know it was possible.
You're not a grown up.
I'm still not a grown up.
I know.
But I'm just trying to talk to the young kids out there or the young adults out there right now. Like this is for you. This is how you can make a lot of money if you listen to this and you follow this practice.
Well, I think Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. It's approaching it like a business. If you approach real estate, even your very first home, if you approach it like a business, so much of the emotion is out the door. And that emotion comes from listening to people who are less successful or had some bad times or don't understand the market, or listening to the news, and you get caught up in this emotion and you're not seeing the truth, because it's always down to treating things like a business. It's always down to the business plan. And that's really, I think, what we excel at. We've never actually used this term, but what we pretty much do for our clients is we build them a business plan. The business plan is running a real estate business, and how do you build wealth through? Because you don't start a business with the intent of not building wealth.
Well, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Like we're the real estate 401k show, where most people approach a 401k and they're willing to drop $1,000 to $3,000 a month in either pre or post tax dollars through their company, and then they come over and they say, "Well, if I'm not positive cash flowing $500 a month, I don't want to do that." And I'm like,
Right.
you're trying to tell me that it makes more sense to drop $3,000 into something that you're not going to be able to touch until post-retirement, that really is it's not tangible at all, right? Because you can make real estate a hybrid. We do that. We have short-term rentals that are out of state that we use that from time to time to make memories with family, and so there is some emotion attached to that. But I can do that because while I'm not there, it's making me money.
Well, I think what I'm saying is sometimes the emotion, we get caught up in the emotion of what other people are saying, and it keeps us from making bold decisions that are going to benefit our future. We just get caught up on what everybody's saying and the sensationalism of the media and not giving you the whole facts. And I know that a lot of people watch cable news. There is nobody you're watching in cable news that is cutting a check going to match your 401k. So it's really about your own retirement. And I know we talked a lot about, the first-time home buyers. But here, at the Recon Group, it's really about helping you create a legacy of wealth through real estate. It does not matter whether you are a first-time buyer, you're a seasoned investor, you've got 100 doors. The question that always pops up: what is next? What do I do next? And that's what our team of real estate wealth managers excel at. If you'd like to sit down with one of us, schedule time to talk with us and help you build that strategy, all you got to do is text the word wealth to 623-AZ-RECON. That's wealth to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.